Ciao ragazzi, che succede? We're back. Thank you so very kindly for the biddies. Today we're looking at doing 2 hours real quick of the GM turn for Project Eden. So let's see. So sometimes just squat palooza. When I moved to North Carolina, new season of experience. Me and my roommate did 100 squats every episode. Oh, that's pretty good. I mean, that's a pain in the ass, but Jesus. I felt like this year for a bit. That's fair. So, okay. So if you're just now joining us, we're going to be doing the GM turn, which is going to basically be episode, if you're going to follow along in perfect order, the stairs. If you're going to be following along in perfect order, it's going to go episodes 1, 2, 3, and this is going to be episode 3.5, which is GM turn 1. So if you want to see like how these things plan out, how they affect each other, this is what's going to happen. So this is going to be about 2 hours. It's going to be fairly boring unless you really care about planning behind the scenes stuff. We want to look behind the GM screen. If either you're a fan of the show or you just are a player or whatever, there will be spoilers. So there are absolutely spoilers in this. So there are factions that the players have not encountered. There are... Am I just looking? No, that's fine. It's only going to be for a couple hours. I just want to get this out of the way, but that is worth knowing. So we're going to get started, and we're going to see behind the screen how this all works, and then after that, we're going to jump into Kingdom Come Deliverance. So I'll change the title when we get to that point. But we'll only have one commercial kind of in the middle of this on the Twitch side of things. So let's get started. So first thing I have to do is we need to pull up our Project Eden folder, which contains quite a lot of crap, actually. I'm just going to get a quick review over the calendar right now. So this is, let's see, our calendar here. So this is what we're looking at. This is currently what we're looking at. So we've done episodes 1, 2, 3, which represents parties 1, 2, 3. Party 1 only made it like 6 days. Or 7 days. Party 2 took it a lot further. Yeah. I might rework this a little bit, but that'll be something I'll do off my time. If I'm Brody, I can poke you when you decide. Oh, that could work too. Okay. But it's also quite late there because he lives in the land of the duchies. Okay. So that's the calendar. We'll keep that up just for the hell of it, but I don't think we really need it, truthfully. Actually, probably don't even need to keep it up, but we'll pull up something first. Okay. Meanwhile, we've got our Project Eden news. Please do. Oh, good. Okay. We have our job board. We have our inventory of goods, our faction tracker. Then we have our travel roles and weather. So I'm going to pull up the faction tracker. I'll sit in the voice chat for sure. Okay. So here's our faction tracker. So this is where we're going to get our spoilers. So here's your first set of spoilers. We have a list of, I forgot how many factions it was. Let's see, 3, 6, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 factions is what we have. And I'm going to make an adjustment to this. This is not useful anymore. Okay. We're going to make an adjustment to this. So first things first, we're also going to pull up our Roll20 over here. Now, another thing that's worth mentioning is, so Stars Without Number does have built into the system what they call the faction turn. And it happens basically after any major event. This is between sessions with players. It happens after any singular major event. Oh, color and labels for everyone. More options for pin maps. Neat. Or after about a month in-game has passed. And basically all the factions act as NPCs, and they take actions against each other. They will attack, they'll build, they'll do whatever. So I'm going to come up with some arbitrary action that they can each do between themselves. But that's the gist of what the GM turn does. And from that tells me like what the current major players in the game are, if some factions disappear, if some factions become like the de facto leadership, government leadership, whatever. It'll do things like determine the official language of the planet. Let's turn this off. There we go. And generally, like what their how they like to rule, how their company operates, and languages they speak and all that. So it'll help me with some of their identity as well. So we're going to change a couple things here. So normally there would be a couple of values. There would be an HP value. There would be a wealth, a like infiltration, and or like a subtlety type, and like a military strength stats. Now we're doing away with that completely. I like how Stars Outnumber does it for the most part as a concept, but it does get really, really, really bloated, and that doesn't really work for me. So we're going to start with a couple of things. We're going to see what jobs they have, what perks that they get, and then also their power level. It says power, but really what this is wealth. So that's actually the first thing I'm going to change. I'm going to change this to wealth, or I guess maybe power is fine. Okay, maybe that's fine actually. Okay, so we've got their field right here. So we've got like architect, genetic banks, food, xenobiology, ecology, banking, administration. Yeah, also would not make sense in this setting. Yeah, it's true. So first I'm going to do is get rid of the goals and the tags, because these are going to change to two things. One is going to be culture, and we're going to tie this to a language and to kind of like just it's going to give them a little bit more of something easy to work with. So for example, if a company speaks Spanish, maybe they'll take like a Spanish approach to business. Maybe they'll be a little more egalitarian. Maybe they'll be whatever. So we'll actually let's put the culture there, and let's put the government here. And that's going to tell me that if they gain any kind of control, or basically how it runs. So we're going to do that for all of these, just like this. And so before we actually let them take the turn, we're going to see what kind of things they want. And now the first turn is going to be pretty straightforward, because it's just going to be them establishing their income. So that's going to be the important thing here as far as the, how they're gaining and trading and all that jazz. So, and then as we do that, we're going to see how the players kind of interact with that. So, let's actually make a rollable table now as well that I can roll from. We're going to go over to the Project Eden side of things on this side. So here we see what the players have got. I think in the future, what I would like to do in a hex crawl like this is actually not make it a pure and random hex crawl, is actually fill these hexes with stuff, which would make it easy to point people in different directions, and so I would know exactly what would happen. That would be an ideal situation, but there are hundreds of these things. So, but we shall see. Okay, so let's make a new rollable table. We'll call this this will be the faction turn. And we're going to add new items. So we'll say, who are the factions here? They are going to be, we have the exchange really doesn't take a reaction. They really don't play, I would say. So I don't even think they're going to get a turn, to be honest. But we have Frontier, Society. We have Xenovista. Now, actually, Xenovista doesn't exist in this context, actually. So let's go ahead and change that to Paydirt. What the fuck does that mean? That actually is something different. We're going to add Silverlight. We have Biopulse. We've got Geosphere. Neogen. And this will matter in a few minutes. Dynamico. Compass does not exist currently, and we have Apex. But then we have a couple others. This is where our spoilers start to come in. We have our Keepers. We have The Lost. And we have Kensi. What the fuck does any of this mean? We're going to learn a little bit. I'm going to avoid just saying what these things are, but know that they exist. So there you go. And I believe that's all of them right out the gate. Okay. Now, the jobs that we have here. Okay. So, let's see. That takes care of those. So let's go through and check out culture for these. Okay. All right. So the culture options that we have, the easiest way to do this is to look at languages that we have available. So we will save these changes here. We'll check our language options. So if we go to this area, we can see that these are all on the right side, all the different tables I've built. Characters first, basically the character creator, which includes first name, last name, the age, any quirks, which is an approximation, not a literal age, like a decades range. Any quirks that they might have, of which we have 34 of those. We have an encounter table, weather, languages here. We have 14 languages. This actually works. So let's take a peek at this. So I also need to look at character sheets. Close this. I'm going to switch this one onto the other screen so you guys won't be able to see this for a moment. Okay, and I want to look at character languages. Hide that for now. Okay. So we'll start with Sophia works for Frontier, and she's the only one, and she speaks Italian. So that's going to be an easy one. So let's make the Frontier Society culture Italian. Okay. I also have to make sure that these, for whatever reason, are not centered. I want these actually onto the left. So I'm just going to control-click the culture and government areas of each of these factions and make sure that they are aligned left. 1, 2, 3. Lost. There we go. We've got the Keepers and the Kensi and Paydirt. So there are basically, 1, 2, 3, 4 factions that the players don't technically know exist yet. So, okay. So this is a really easy one. Frontier Society, their culture is Italian. Nice and easy. Next up, we have, let's see, who else do we have that has unique stuff. So we have Dr. B is the only character who works for Geosphere. And he speaks Spanish or Vanish. All right, so Geosphere is going to be a Spanish one. So that's an easy one. So let's go look at that. Geosphere is Spanish. And I'm thinking more Spain Spanish than Mexican or Central American Spanish. But yeah, just in terms of culture. Okay. That's Dr. B. We have Stein works for, actually, it's Stein and Skeeter. And both work for Biopulse. Now, Stein speaks. He speaks Italian? Oh, apparently, he speaks Italian. Interesting. Okay. And Skeeter speaks Spanish. Interesting. Okay. So let's roll a new one. Let's come up with a new one for this. So let's just fucking roll it. I don't care. Let's roll to see what the culture is here. Okay. We said languages. French. Okay, there it is. And we said that was going to be which one? Frontier. That was Xenovista. We said. Did I just say Xenovista? Who did I say was going to be this? Biopulse. Biopulse was French, actually. Okay, so Biopulse culture is French. Okay, that's their language. That's their language. That's their culture. That's their approach. Okay, let's just go down the line. So we did the exchange. Their language is their culture is English. Like just English. So that's fine. That's the language they speak. It's the language of trade in the world. So they don't really need much. And they don't have a governmental type, so that's not going to matter. Okay. Frontier Society Italian, Xenovista does not exist. Silverlight Cooperative. The last ones to look at then are going to be these last two characters who also work for this group, and that's going to be Klaus and Fer. And I actually think I know what I'm going to do with this. Klaus speaks German. I like that. That's actually going to go really well. Okay, so Silverlight Cooperative's culture is German. So presumably it's not just that they're like, oh, like we chose to speak German, whatever. They're probably from a planet that spoke some future version of this language, right? 3,000 years or a couple thousand years in the future. That's the language that they speak, right? So they come. So presumably each one of these companies came from a different place. So yeah, in this case, Silverlight came from a place that speaks German. Okay. And now this is an interesting one. So Lucy speaks a couple languages. She speaks Sign and Cherokee. I think she actually has language. Yeah, she does. So she speaks Sign and Cherokee. Now, Sign, I think, could just be useful in general. So we're going to leave that one as is. I don't think the Sign is going to be the primary language of anything. But Cherokee is going to be a language. And that's going to be different because we're going to surprise her with this one. Cherokee is going to be the language of the lost. Or not, yeah. What does that mean? Well, we're gonna fucking find out. Did I spell that right? Did I actually spell that right? We'll double check that. Chero. Yeah, okay. Okay. But we'll deal with that a bit later. The Kensi are their own language, which no one has discovered, so we're going to save that for them. And what this allowed me to do is actually remove some of these languages so that people aren't speaking useless languages. I want to make sure that if like, hey, I chose Urdu, and it's like, are you gonna use Urdu? Like, no, not really. Like that doesn't feel, it doesn't feel good. So I feel like Silverlight should be English and say, well, so everyone gets English. That's why I think like it's it works for like the exchange as like it's the language like everyone has to learn English because it's the language of banking and administration, so everyone learns that. But yeah, then you come from a specific planet that does that. But yeah, and normally I would have decided this in advance. I didn't think of this like before we started. So when I said like, hey, what language do you want to speak? Everyone just kind of chose a language. I'm like, all right, that works. That's fine. And like, I'll just find a way to work it in. But this way now I actually have a reason. So when you take, say, if we get a new player and the player joins Silverlight, for example, all right, now they'll get their company language, which is going to replace world. So it'll be like your world language and English, plus any other languages you learn. So in this case, it's company language, German plus whatever, which is the language of their business. But that also... That doesn't mean you have to necessarily either. That could also be some interplay. Like, oh, why does this person speak Italian but not German? Interesting. Maybe they actually secretly work for this organization, or maybe they used to work for this organization, or whatever the deal is. Maybe they're from that planet where whatever. So there is going to be some play there. Okay, but that also means that if you want to learn a language, you have to go to that company to do it. I think I'm also going to allow some of these companies to be like specialist training in some areas. Like, you can take your skill to say level 2, but anything beyond that is going to require training from one of the major corporations. That I might work out later, but let's see. We're already 40 minutes in, so we've got some. This will actually go pretty quick. Let's go pretty quick. So, okay. The next ones we have are going to be. All right, so Xenovista does not exist, basically. Frontier Society is good. We have Silverlight Cooperative. We said was German. Biopulse Combine is French. Geosphere Unit is Spanish. Neogen Enterprises. Now, we don't have anybody represent Neogen. Everybody here has been accounted for, so now this doesn't matter. So we can get rid of that. So now we just get to roll in to see what we're going to do here. So Neogen Enterprises, let's go ahead and... let's see. We got Neogen, Dynamico, and Compass doesn't exist either. So we'll ignore those. So we only need 2 roles. So first is going to be, where's the language? Right here. 1, 2. Okay. We have Japanese. Okay. So Neogen Enterprises is Japanese in style. We're not using Cherokee, so we'll keep that as is. We'll roll again. And that's going to give us Korean. Interesting. So Dynamico is a Korean company. Okay, so we have Japanese and Korean. I find that so very interesting. Because you have two very Asian cultures that are quite different. But they work in not dissimilar fields in some ways. Civil engineering, power, sanitation, chemical engineering, metallurgy, manufacturing. So there's going to be a lot of play between these two, which could cause a little bit of tension anyway. Okay. The next one we have is the Apex Intelligence. So let's go ahead and give it a roll. And we'll do languages. And that's going to be Spanish. Nope. This is a problem. We'll give them 3 rolls. We'll take the first one that works. 1. That's survey. Don't do that. Let's see. I know there's a way to do this. Graphics, audio, chat options. Clear the current chat log. I don't want anybody to see this. Okay, one more time. Languages. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so the first one we've got is Italian. We've done French. We've done German. Really? 1, 2, 3. See if we've got any here. So we did Italian, French, German, Japanese. We did sign, Urdu. Okay, there we go. Apex Intelligence language is Urdu. So that's kind of a fun one. So I want to double check the location of this, but Urdu, how is it described? Is a national language of Pakistan and the official language in parts of India. So we have a lot of Asian influence here, which I really like. That's kind of fun. Okay. So that is Urdu. So it's like Pakistani. Okay, and the next one. What's happening? Oh, there's that. What did I do? We only have a couple left. We have Urdu. We have Cherokee for the Lost. The Keeper cults. I'm gonna give them a style. So Urdu's the last one. Let's see what this gives us. For the Keepers. Or not for the Keepers, for the Kensi. It's less about the language they speak and more about their what am I doing? Keyboard circuits, text chat options. And it's going to be more about their culture and how they behave rather than the language they literally speak. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Korean, Spanish, Pashto. Interesting. All right. So Pashto, for those that don't know, is an Iranian language. Spoken by 40 to 55 million people, primarily in Afghanistan, where it's an official language. Where it is an official language out in Pakistan. Uses modified Arabic script. Let's see. Interesting. So I'm going to have to learn a little bit about Iranian culture if I'm going to keep doing this. Okay. But that's fine. That's part of what I think makes this a little bit exciting. Okay, so the Kensi, we said we're going to be a little bit Pashto. Culture, but not language. So what I'm actually do is remove this as an option. All right, you know what? Maybe I don't need to. Maybe I don't need to. Let's add. Oh, I guess that didn't work. Okay, so let's actually add it back. Maybe we'll just call it Pashto. That might actually just work. Okay, and we've got, I think, one final one. Keeper and Pay Dirt. Let's see. So clear the chat log, and let's do like 6 rolls. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. And we've got Cherokee, Urdu, Russian. Oh. Now that is interesting. Okay, not how I expected that. Oh, we've got Russian, and I need another language. I want to see maybe. Ooh, okay. Let's do correct survey of any creatures exploration. Where's languages? All right, so we had Russian and Swahili. Russian and Swahili. So we have the keepers. And we have pay dirt. And Swahili is a Bantu language widely used as a lingua franca in East Africa, and having official status in several countries. Zanzibar, coastal regions, and let's see. Spoken in Tanzania, Kenya, Uganda, Uganda, and the Democratic Republic of Congo is Swahili. Okay. So let's go. Maybe we're odd mix. Do we really are, right? Okay. Interesting. And then I'm going to get rid of some of these other languages so people at least have some, some use here. Okay. All right. So Italian, Spanish, French. Hindi is gone. We delete Hindi. No one spoke Hindi anyway, so Hindi's gone. Urdu we keep. Japanese, Korean we keep. Sign we keep. Cherokee, Pashto, and we said Swahili and Russian. Interesting. Okay. So let's do... I think pay dirt is going to be Russian, actually. That makes sense for what I have going. And then the keepers will be Swahili. Okay, as their culture. Okay. So that gives us, let's see, I want to double check the number that we have. We've got, is English in here? English is not in here. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 languages plus sign. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 plus sign. Arabic is not being used, so let's get rid of Arabic for now. No one spoke Arabic in here anyway, so that's fine. We're good. Save the changes. Okay. Now then. Let's move this way. We're going to zoom out just slightly. So what we see here is the map that the players have explored. We can actually see where they've been here. It's kind of highlighted. They've come up this way. They've come down this way. They've gone down this way. Yeah. We can see how the mountain ranges move. So if you want to commit this to memory, now's the time to do it. But we can see how the they've got an ocean down here, or some kind of ocean or lake down there, probably an ocean. We have some lakes up here. We have a couple mountain ranges up here. We have kind of a valley in the middle there. So, and we have a desert thing down here. Each of these beacons have some lit. And then we also see how these beacons work. We see that there's a lot of overlap in these beacons. So anywhere they're in range of a beacon, they can communicate with anybody else within beacon range. So that's important. But we have the parties here. I have to move the party back. Let's go to the... There you go. Party goes there. And they found a lot of crap along this way too. So we also have, and we see that because they've, oh, they did claim this for Apex, didn't they? Did you guys claim this for Apex? I have to double check that. I think you guys did. But since they claimed it for Apex, they now have scans and drones and stuff in the area. It's got a small radius influence than the regular comms beacon that they have from, say, the exchange. So that's why it doesn't quite extend all the way out too. So it has half the distance of these here. Okay. Now, the other thing we need to do is determine the government type, which is where we get the book. I own, I think, every single book except one on hardcover. And I don't have the revised edition, but the revised edition is kind of fucking weird. Okay. We did. We wanted more info in that area. Yeah. So, and that'll give them more active surveillance in that area as well and easier to report. So, okay. So we are looking at, let's see, we've got world generation. The first turn is going to be a little on, not boring side, but it's going to be, let's see. What is a faction? Okay, here we go. So we want to look at the kinds of stuff, let's see, that we can do. So the stats that they had originally were force, cunning, and wealth were their actions. Arabic's not used? Yeah. Oh, yeah, thank you. Which is unfortunate because, I understand a little bit of Arabic, right? Okay, so we can give them a faction tag, which I think would be kind of fun. But we'll see about that. Okay. Creating factions. I need to find a... They have a list of governmental types, and that's what I'm looking for in this. Let's see. Social structure. The Ho-Chog. They've got different alien races, too, in here, if you ever decide to use it. They have a fun one they call the Ho-Chog, which is kind of like a... Imagine if, like, wild boars or pigs became, like an alien race. Like, that's kind of cool. I kind of like that. They're described as very aggressive, which would make sense if they're pig people. But that's not... and I've considered including them, but that's not one that we're going to include. So, okay. AI, mechs. This is all crap. Societies. This is what we're looking for. Okay. So government types. We have 12 types of government. We have autocracy, corporatism, democracy, feudalism, hydraulic despotism, military dictatorship, monarchy, oligarchy, republic, technocracy, theocracy, and tribalism are all options here. So what we're going to do is we're going to make a rollable table. And we're going to go left to right. And we're just going to say, like, what do these companies value in terms of, let's see, we will add a new one here. I'm going to call this one government types. I don't know why they do this dash thing here. Discord does it too. I find that weird. But, okay. So let's go with autocracy. And this is just all stuff in the book. Autocracy, corporatism, corpos. So this is your probably like more corporatism. Corporatism. There we go. I suppose right. CORPOR autism. CORPOR autism. Perfect. Okay, there we go. So that's your cyberpunk like hellscape dystopia. We've got democracy. Everyone's current favorite. We will say feudalist or feudalism. We will add hydraulic despotism. Military dictatorship. Military dictatorship goes there. Monarchy. And this is also going to paint how the factions interact with each other. Oligarchy, which is also kind of a hellscape, and one we sort of live in if you live in the United States. Republic. And these government types can change. With enough power struggles and shifts and things, they can shift. There are mechanics for these shifting from one government type to another. Technocracy. Theocracy, which is religious. So the opposite of the technocracy in a lot of ways. Theocracy. And then, of course, tribalism. Okay. Now, same thing as before. We're going to go left to right. This time, we're going to delete some of these. Max! I know what I want for my birthday. No, right? There's a whole thing for mechs. It's awesome. And mechs are built kind of like starships where they have their own components and things. Yeah, that's a thing. There is, in fact, a lot of file structures that don't like spaces in there. Yeah, it's so weird. I never understood why that was a thing. Okay, so and we have things like, what is corporatism? How do they evolve? Like, a corporate company can become like a tribal that doesn't change. It can become a republic, a technocracy, military dictatorship, and autocracy, as opposed to something like a democracy, which can become tribalist, republic, corporatist, autocratic, or theocratic. Yeah, so there's a lot of play here. If it comes down to it, like, hey, things are changing. What can we become when we mix the two? So let's see. And we've got 3 minutes or so on before the ads, which is enough time to give these guys some stuff to go on. Okay, so the first one, we'll just go left to right and then down according to this. So the first one we have is the exchange is not a ruling body. They will not get a roll. So that does not matter for them. We do still have, I think, 14, or I guess in this case, 13. So we're going to have to, one of these is going to be doubled up, which is fine. It'll make things interesting. Okay, so first things first, let's go here. Can I roll off of this? Players can roll from this table. No, you guys cannot roll off that table. Same with the faction turn. You guys cannot roll off that table. There's no reason to. I can only just do it for these turns. Okay. Let's see. All right, so let's clear the chat again. Let's see, clear the chat log. And let's go with, let's make 3. 1, 2, 3. All right, so left to right. Frontier society, hydraulic despotism. Oops. Hydraulic despotism. What does that mean? Well, let's find out. Let's see. Hydraulic despotism. I was saying that wrong. Food, water, and air, these things are necessary for life. On alien worlds, these necessities can often be far harder to obtain than they are beneath Earth's kinder skies. A ruler who manages to seize control of one or more of these necessities can hold entire worlds in helpless thrall. Hydraulic despotisms appear most often on worlds without a breathable atmosphere with minimal water supplies, those lacking some important nutrient, yada, yada, yada. The prime law of any hydraulic despotism is the control of whatever substance the despot uses to rule the populace. So off-worlders who bring in alternate supplies are met with brutal suppression, but those who actually bring in alternate means of producing the necessity are a mortal threat to the state's very survival, and treated accordingly. For commoners, punishment often revolves around restricting access. Oh, interesting. So these guys, I think what's going to happen is Frontier Society is going to control food, and they're going to control it really hard. Food and water. That's the things. So like they come across like, hey, we're bioengineering this stuff. We brought seeds and stuff, but it's going to be like the Miracle Grow and like farming bullshit situation. I think this is how I'm viewing this, and this is why we do it like this, because it makes it interesting. And I wouldn't have thought to go in this direction myself, but it does make a lot of sense. So for those of you that don't know, like Miracle Grow and other like farming companies are aggressive in their litigiousness. By which I mean, if you are a farmer, a professional farmer with like 500 acres in the United States, and you buy seeds from a place that provides seeds, one, there are genetic markers built into the seeds now to let them know whose seeds those are, right? And if those seeds, hey, thank you for the redeem. If those seeds spread to another field, you can be sued for mismanaging their seeds and their proprietary genetic information. And I think that's the kind of thing that we're going to see out of our Frontier Society. So that's kind of, I don't like them. Yeah, that's interesting. But I mean, it's a dog-eat-dog corporate world, right? And they will control these resources. So that would mean that if, at the end of the day, Frontier Society became the dominant company in the galaxy or in the sector, or at least on the planet, rather, that they would, because there are so many rich resources here, they would fiercely control the export and import of resources, right? They're like, no, we are a very rich, wealthy world. And that would make sense, right? Like, hey, our world is rich and full of resources. We're going to take very strict control over how that resource. So like, the people that probably live here would get very wealthy and be fat and happy and well fed. But anybody outside of this, they're going to pay hefty fees and fines and import taxes or taxes just to be able to utilize the resources that Frontier would use. They've been found to be standing on fence lines and throwing seeds into other fences. So I can take yeah. And if you've heard this, it's fucking horseshit, right? Anyway, Cancer, how you doing, beautiful? I hope you're well. I have 3 bosses left to beat before Dracula. So if you guys are around later, that'd be kind of fun to do that. All right, we have ads coming up right now. So let's go ahead and take our 3-minute ad break, and then we're going to get into the rest of the government options here, and then switch to actually taking the turns, which is going to be pretty quick for this first round of turns. We'll be back in just a second. Okay, so that was the first one. The next one up is going to be, so let's see. Xenovista does not have a culture. Although I probably should, or a culture or government type. The Germans, the Silverlights. You know what? This is something that happened historically in Germany, I think, too. Germany is a monarchy, or the Silverlight Cooperative is a monarchy. That's kind of fun. Okay, so Silverlight. Monarchy, it says... where an autocrat or military dictatorship rules by force of arms, wealth, or strength of supporters, a monarch is invested with a certain mystique of legitimacy. Some worlds retain a variation of the divine right of kings, while others have monarchs consecrated by simple length of tradition. A monarch is a special by virtue of blood or anointed role, and a king without an army is still no less a king. So I don't know if we'll call him a king. They might actually be Kaiser, like the leader. It might not be CEO. It might be Kaiser. Is the leader of Silverlight. Interesting. Who rules? Societies that support monarchies are, by their very nature, inclined to a strong respect for tradition and customary legitimacy. The same spirit of acquiescence and respect tends to infuse the rest of the culture, with men and women keenly aware of their duties toward the society and deeply motivated by respect for custom. There are very few cultures where only the monarchy itself inspires reverence beyond its actual power. Interesting. So there's going to be like this half like royal tradition, maybe not British royal, but like this idea of like bloodlines and legitimacy, so like maybe it's like Silverlight is ruled by a particular family. I could see if like the people that created Walmart could do something like this, right? Like it's their family that rules. But I want this to be a little bit nicer. I think it's very easy to look at like a monarchy and also to look at Germans in some way. And also like military defense contractors as all just evil. And I want to push away from that a little bit, make them a little more complicated. So they're monarchy. That's going to be a fun one. Shame on you. That also explains wanting the information lockdown. Yeah. So very interesting. And I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing, but I think this could be a lot of fun. So that'll be whoops. That'll be cool. All right. So monarchy for them. And the next one, oligarchy. We have an oligarchy on. Who's the oligarchy for? That is going to be Biopulse, they're French oligarchs. Man, I love the random tables because I start doing crap like I wouldn't otherwise expect. Let's see. Monarchies have kings, autocracies have dictators, military dictatorships have generalissimos and grand marshals. Oligarchies, on the other hand, have a less clearly visible apex. Authority might be invested in a formal council, or it might be dispersed more informally through a collection of men and women capable of directing society's strength. Merchant houses, nobility, individually as strong as the nominal king, controllers of mass media, great landowners, or mighty barons of industry. These are the ones that usually form an oligarchy. Unlike in a feudalistic state, however, these oligarchs tend to all be part of the same system of power rather than each resting their authority on their own personal retainers. A merchant oligarchy might consist of several powerful corporations, for example, but all of them would rely on a shared military and legal system and the same basic channels of influence. Oh, so this means that if Biopulse starts taking over, let's like oligarchy. I'm gonna go like what? How do they phrase it? Let's go. Let's see. Capable of directing decision. Oh, merchant houses. Yeah, let's call them merchant houses. So the idea is biopulse is actually a combination of let's extend this just slightly. There we go. So Biopulse is a conglomerate of a few smaller, like wealthier, like trades, like guilds, and what that kind of stuff. So maybe like there's like a cell that works on like healthcare. There's a cell that works in pharma. There's a cell that works in cyberware. So that if Biopulse starts to take over other companies, they don't dissolve the company. They become like a holding company. It would be like it wouldn't be Biopulse. Actually, Biopulse Combine, and the name even makes sense. The Combine. Because of the combination of all these different like merchant houses. So that Silverlight's Cooperative and Biopulse Combine, the name might actually disappear completely. There would be no Silverlight Cooperative if they got absorbed, for example. It would still be Biopulse Combine, but then they would have a new merchant house of the former rulers or leaders, or maybe they get new leaders for like Silverlight, right? Then they have now a military arm, they have a security arm, whatever, and they're all like these conglomerate. They're all like the heads of each like sits on a board kind of thing. Okay, that's kind of fun. All right, Geosphere Union. So that's 1, 2, 3. So let's get rid of now. We can start deleting some of these. So let's get rid of the hydraulic despotism. Let's delete the monarchy. And let's delete the oligarchy. So that these, when we roll the next 3, they won't appear, hopefully. Or at least those definitely won't appear. Okay, so we go here. We clear the chat log. We go here. We have Geosphere, Neogen. Let's just do Geosphere next, because that's the way it goes across my list here. Okay, actually we could do 3. Never mind, I take that back. Let's do 3. Okay, government types 1, 2, 3. Do we have any duplicates? We do not. Okay, first things first. Geosphere Union, which is Spanish, has a government type of democracy. Cool. All right, so the guys that work on terraforming, conveniently, this is the stuff that they have a lot of survey data. Like the party has provided a lot of survey data. All right, so they have a democracy, straight up democracy. Ostensibly in the United States, that's what we have. Especially popular for small egalitarian colonies, democracy allows every voting member to have an equal voice in the laws of the world. Executives might be elected to handle day-to-day administration, but every important decision is made as near a full body of voters as possible. Such an organization tends to be practical only when advanced technology. So this is going to be closer to a true democracy, which is not what we do in America. In America, we have like a republic or a representative democracy. They say we have democracy. We don't have a true democracy. I want this to be close to a true democracy where everything gets voted on. And I think what would happen is eventually this would shift into a republic if they became like a major world power. But that's a problem for future Nyando. So, okay. So we're going to go with keep it simple. Okay. So same dealy here. We have democracy and Geosphere Union. Neogen Enterprises is Japanese, and it's going to be corporatism. Now, what we need to know about corporatism as a style of government. Corporatism. Despite the name corporatism, does not necessarily have anything to do with commercial corporations. Instead, it implies a society divided up into various interest groups and factions, each one representing a group with similar interests. These factions all contribute to the governance of the world, theoretically in proportion to their importance. You know what this is going to be? I know what I'm going to do with this. On the frontier, corporatism tends to evolve as a recognition of de facto power blocks and coalitions. The government might formally be organized as a republic or a democracy, but everyone understands that if a union of agricultural workers, the Tendai People's Front, doesn't like a piece of legislation the representatives it supports will kill it. Politicking between blocks can be savage at times, a class war subsumed into marginally less bloody lawmaking. All right, here's what we're doing. It's going to be unions. Unions. So this is going to be fun. So these are the guys who are going to like resist and go on strike and be protesting if they don't get their way. And again, this makes some amount of sense, right? You have these civil engineers, you have power workers, you have sanitation workers, and each one of these guys. So it's similar to the oligarchy merchant houses we have going on here, but rather than being like companies that control Neogen, like, Biopulse is controlled by a number of companies, like small merchant houses, small noble houses, whatever you want to call them. In Neogen Enterprises, it's actually a bunch of unions, a whole bunch of union reps control, groups of people, kind of like, so it's a little more democratic, maybe a little more Republican that way, where, like the engineers work in a group, like, and they have their own union, kind of like guilds in like the medieval times, right? Like you have, you have engineers, you have your sanitation workers, you have your power guys, you have whatever, security dudes, whatever, and they all have like a union rep, who kind of basically represents them. Keep it simple, stupid. Always keep it simple. Man, that fits right. It fits so well, I think. How you doing, Kappa? Kappa, you beautiful SOB. Also, do you know how bad, like, you are like living the dream, like up in the snow, playing with your dog. Kappa sent us sent me a video of him and his dog playing in the snow, and it is the cutest shit ever. He's so fluffy and he's so soft. The dog's cute too, but like he's so fluffy and soft. I love it. I love it. Okay. All right, so that takes care of Neogen. Dynamico is Korean, and their style of government is interesting. Military dictatorship. Yeah, cool. Okay, so this one shouldn't be surprising for anybody. What a military dictatorship is. But let's just see. Gold can't always get you swords, but swords can always get you gold. The military dictatorship rules by brute strength of arms, the only necessary legitimacy being the control of the greatest military power in society. So these guys control chemical engineering, metallurgy, manufacturing. And they're going to be militant about it, which means that their weapons aren't going to be like, this would be something that people expect from Silverlight, right? You expect Silverlight to say, hey, we're going to use weapons of war and all this stuff. Or even you could even say the same thing about Apex, right? Where they're like, hey, we control comm systems, communications, we have drones, like, that would make sense. But I think it's more fun for Dynamico to do this. Especially, so this actually is almost like a North Korean approach to things. Well, that's more autocratic, but still. And it's not that they're using, like, their weapons of war aren't mechs and guns and all this stuff. Their weapons of war are going to be chemicals, right? They are a chemical warfare, bombs kind of faction. That's going to be interesting. And that could very well put them at odds with companies like Frontier Society, right? What if they were to, like, poison, like if they use chemicals against, like, the seeds and genetic banks and all that stuff. That is a lot of fun. Oh, see, I love doing the random stuff like this for exactly this reason. Hello, Mr. Bravo. Hey, Spooky. Guess what I did today, buddy? Did you do more splits? How you doing, Spooks? What's going on, gorgeous? I hope you're well. We're doing a little bit of planning for the next session, and then we're going to jump into Kingdom Come Deliverance. What did you did today? Did what? Did you talk to the boy? I feel like my lighting is in that, or I need to get new contacts. It's pretty overcast today, so maybe that's why. I was a big brave girl and asked Jim, dude. And he said yes. Woo! Oh, I'm so happy for you. She gonna get it. She gonna get it. She gonna get it. And you know what's cute? Like, I find it sexy personally when a woman's like, "Yo, can I get your number?" Like, oh shit. Does that mean that there's going to be love and whatever in the future? Who knows? But the more important thing is that our girl is doing her thing. So what's the plan? Have you texted him? Don't play the long waiting game. But I'm so proud. Oh, I'm so happy. How do you feel? The sad thing is, if Spooky gets a boyfriend, we'll probably see a little less of her streaming, and that makes me really sad. Or maybe you guys can stream together. So, it's so cute. He was surprised, I think, but he was 100% checking me out the whole time there, and he looked like he wanted to approach me. So I was like, "Fuck it, I will be the brave one. I'll still stream." Okay, good. Good for you. I'm so happy. That's stupid. It makes me really happy. It's gonna be great. I was pumped as fuck after I left. When's the last time you've been on a date or dated anybody? I mean, you don't have to say like it's been 17 years. No, I mean, that's so cool. Is it going to work out every time? No. Is it going to frustrate you? Absolutely. I guess it depends. Is it going to be primitive dumbass? Yeah, that's to be expected. But at least, hey, for the moment, Cloud9, let's do this shit. Fucking get it, girl. Get it. Also, how was your pump the rest of the day? Did you do it right before you left? Or did you do it after? See, here's the thing. I feel like I probably would have done it right before I left for the gym. Like, hey, I'm headed out, but can I get your number? Because if you do it at the gym, like I just get there, oh, there's Cutie, and then you go talk to him, and then he's like, nah, and then you're like, oh, well, I still got to do my workout. I broke up X a year ago, but it was my first time asking a guy for his number in real life. Yeah, see, it's the time. It's a tough thing. Times are changing, just in general, and if you don't take the initiative, no one will, right? Guys don't want to, as a guy, one, rejection sucks, and we get used to it over time. But like nobody wants to be rejected, but it happens. I've gotten rejected, and you think to yourself, "Geez, Nye, who would have rejected you?" That's what I'm fucking saying. Anyway, so I left, washed, packed him, puss it out. So I put my shit back in the locker, ran back up to MS, and then left again. Ah, it's so cute. Did you skip it? Oh, you could see he was happy. But to be fair, one, I think a woman approaching is actually really sexy. Personally, it does take a little bit of the stress off, and then it gives you the option to reject too, if you need to, I guess, which is not nice, but at least it gives you a little more control as the one being approached. But otherwise, like, yeah, no, as a guy, like, I don't want to approach well, I mean, also because I'm married now, but I wouldn't want to approach somebody or come on too. I would worry about coming on too strongly, because like, it's not necessarily I'm trying to get in your pants. I mean, I probably am a little bit, but I don't want to come off as weird. I don't want to come off as creepy. I don't want people to like have a super negative reaction. Like, I'm just like, hey, I think you're pretty. Do you want to go out? And it's like, no. Like, oh, okay, well, that's cool. I respect that. Whatever. Which is why, like, when Joe's and I first started dating, I mean, we met on like a dating site, to be perfectly honest. She and I talked for like a month before I even asked her out, and she's like, oh, I just think maybe you want to be my friend because you never asked me out. And I'm like, well, I know there's a lot of weirdos on the internet. Like, I don't want to be the first one to, yeah. Another male friend told me that men like when women ask them, so I trusted that. Another male friend, not just me, that's fair. Decent men don't want to come across creepy, I think, so then they don't ask at all. And that's the thing and then we're like, man, I ended up alone, and it's like, well, because like I didn't want to be weird and creepy, but like it's hard not to, like, to approach and be like, hi, I find you attractive. Because that's the thing is like, and I've seen this complaint too from women on like TikToks and Instagram and the internet, where they'll say things like, oh, why is my best guy friend ruining our relationship by trying to like ask me out? And he's like, we've known for like 3 years or whatever. It's like, because he's always probably had a crush on you, or he developed feelings for you, which happens in friendships. And then it turns out that he actually kind of had a thing for you. And he's just like, well, fuck it. Like, I might as well try it. It's like, but he might lose the friendship. And it's like, yeah, but that's a risk he's willing to take. And it's not he doesn't value the friendship. It's just that. So it's tough. There's really no winning. Unless she says yes, in which case, congratulations, you won. That's the tricky thing. Because we've heard from women like, oh, I want to get to know you first. And so then we try that. And then it doesn't, oh, I see you as a brother now. Oh God, I haven't messaged him yet. I don't know if I should message first. Well, you exchanged numbers? And what do you even say? Jesus, it's a whole other situation. Just ask him out to coffee. Just be the first. And here's the thing. If you're the one who asked him for his number, I guess you exchange. I guess I don't know what they approach it. It could be exchange numbers or whatever the deal was. I would say in that situation, I mean, he could message you. Don't wait too long. You could just say, hey, let's grab coffee. And maybe you get to know him outside of the gym, right? In which case, if you do that and you really want to impress him, you could be like, hey, I'm offered. You could, if it's just that's what I'm saying, not dinner. If it's just a coffee, you could offer to pay, right? Be like, hey, I asked you out. I'll offer to pay, whatever. Hopefully he's not the kind of like, oh, it's emasculating me or whatever. Or that's his chance to be like, no, I got it. Or we can go Dutch or whatever the deal is. That's probably how I'd approach it, but that's me as a guy. I ask the number, I'll get the first date kind of thing. But keep it casual in the beginning. Movies are a terrible place. If you like mini golf, I always thought mini golf was kind of a fun date thing. Bowling, if you like bowling, I guess can be fun. I think mini golf's a really fun first date activity because you get to chat and it's pretty low impact. But anyway, I guess it depends when you ask, when you exchange numbers, and because you don't want to drag it out. Like, hey, thanks for the number, and then like 2 weeks goes by and it becomes like awkward to message. So, because you also probably don't want to bump into him at the gym either before you've had a chance to chat. because that would be weird. Like, hey, can I get your number? Yeah, and you see him like 3 days later. You know, I don't know. Maybe coffee after gym is a good idea. Although I do want to be, I don't want to be sweaty. Yeah, it's fair. We went clubbing on our first. Oh, did you really? It would work because some guy got stabbed that very. Neither one of you, yeah. Yeah, I think you and I are of an age, Jesus, where that was the thing, right? Um, um, you could go out to a club. I think you're a similar age to me. I think Ninja, where you could do that. Anyway, a little bit of tangent. I'm just excited for Spooks. I can't wait. And then you can take a picture with him. It'd be great. I want to see what this guy looks like. Okay, so we're talking about government types and the factions here in Project Eden. Okay, so next up we have let's see. We just said Dynamico is a Korean culture with a military dictatorship. Compass acquisitions does not exist, so we are not concerned with compass acquisitions. All right, Apex intelligence is the next one. So let's get rid of the last 3 that we rolled. So military dictatorship is gone. Right there. Democracy is gone. We've used that one now. And let's get rid of corporatism. That is also gone. Okay. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 remaining. I have an idea for some of these, but I'm curious if this is actually going to be how it's played out. I don't think tribalism will work for most of the companies. Let me double check what tribalism says here, according to the book. And it says, oldest, most fundamental form of forces, tribals have a difficult time maintaining sophisticated technological bases or elaborate social structures. I might have to ignore tribalism. I think I know who I want to go with for this, but we're going to see. There's a couple other factions that this could work for as well. So, thank you for the advice. Of course. I'm so happy. She's so happy. That was the thing when internet dating was safe-ish. Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, I remember like seeing like one of my favorite things on Craigslist back in the day was the missed connections. That was always, or like the best of Craigslist, man. They had some people would post the most unhinged fucking shit. It was fantastic. I miss that Craigslist isn't really useful in the same way that it used to be anymore. But yeah, it's so weird. Like, I don't know. I feel for the new generation of humans here. I don't know how they're ever going to date. Dude, I met my boy on Adult Friend Finder. Oh my. Oh. I mean, sometimes you're like, hey, you know what? I just want to have fun. And you're like, man, I'd actually had a lot of fun. Like, not even like I had some fun, but like, no, that was actually just kind of a vibe. Like, okay. Huh. Go fig. I love that. We all need some good old wiener. You know what, Spooks? You and Jesus have that in common then. The only good old wiener I have is the one attached to me, I suppose. And he does the job. He does the job. Isn't that right, old chap? Give it a good old whack. That's dumb. Quantity may vary. That's true. Okay, so next one up, we've got Apex Intelligence, which speaks Urdu. These are the guys that do computer systems, communications tech, and drones, very specifically drones. And so what is going to be their governmental style? Let's find out. It is, drumroll, that's my drumroll. They are a republic. Interesting. Oh, interesting. I like where we're going with a lot of these. Republic. Let's see. And now, according to Apex, or according to the book, rather, most readers are familiar with the nature and traits of a republic, and it's easy enough to transpose the quarreling and fractious doings of a particular republican nation's politics into a stellar context. Many republics on the frontier tend to be de facto in nature, even if their outward appearance is something else. The regular infighting and disputes natural to this form of government help to identify and diffuse conflicts in companies that come short of open fighting. Other forms of governments might maintain a smoother external facade, but they often prove too brittle to withstand the sudden strains and disasters that come with life on the edge of human space. Interesting. So I think these guys are going to be a little less in your face. And I think what we're going to see with them is a lot of internal conflict with regards to Apex Intelligence. So that'll be fun. Okay, and the culture right here just says the language. I'm gonna add a couple quirks. So, like for example, you know, we're gonna keep some of this, like you know, the Frontier Society, which has an Italian culture and hydraulic despotism, might really value like family values kind of thing, traditional conservative type things. So that might be a direction I take that one in. So I'm going to mix some of the stuff here with some of the governmental types to see how the two mesh. Um, like German and monarchy, together might be something more like a deep respect, like definitely like a noble class, like maybe not quite a caste system, but something similar where you're born into something and moving between the systems is not likely. And everybody has their role, but they're like, this is the role I do, and I'm okay with it kind of situation. Um, and we'll see how this plays out. There's a lot of play here. Okay, so next up, this is where it gets, I think, a little interesting because we've dealt with the major factions, right? So now we have to move on to the Lost Colony, which is Cherokee, the Keepers, and the Kensi and Paydirt. So that's going to be 4 options here. So let's get rid of the Republic here. And so this is where it's going to get really interesting. Because we have autocracy, feudalism, technocracy, theocracy, and tribalism. And I think all 5 of those will fit perfectly into any 4 of these. And that's going to be a good time. Dating and making friends this day and age, as someone in their mid-30s is a bitch. Yeah, I believe it. Dude, I'm like, I told Josie, like, look, if anything happens to you or us, God forbid, like, I'm not doing this shit again. I can't. One way or another, this relationship ends in death. That's that's really dark. That's really dark. If you need help, please find it. But that's not what I'm talking about. But still, like, I just can't date. I can't date again. I've seen these kids and how they text. Never gonna happen. Nope. This is my final shot at like, yeah. And so far so good. We got married. So kind of digging that. But yeah, no, it's exhausting. Then you have to get to know new people and you have to go outside and shit's expensive. Like being married is cheaper than dating for damn sure. But not, it's a bit cheaper, I find. But yeah, anyway. Also, then you have to like, we live in a time when like everyone's got to have fucking roommates. Yeah. You actually have pretty good odds. Gen Z women hate Gen Z men. So they're all chasing millennial men. Oh, there you go. Do you like a man that's a little salt and pepper? Perhaps, I don't know where I'm going with this. Okay. So I'm very excited for these ones. This is actually, this is so, this is, I say that, but this is actually exciting for me. Okay. Lost Colony. What is the Lost Colony? The Lost Colony speaks Cherokee. The Lost Colony are the colonists that existed here before the Scream. So that's your spoiler. So if you have no idea what I'm talking about when you're watching this, there is a secret colony of people that already exist on this planet from a previous colony that everyone forgot about. That's what's happening. So they exist somewhere on this map is a lost colony. And how did they survive? What government is the system that helped them survive the past 1,000 years of complete darkness? Let's find out. A technocracy. Interesting. They rely on tech. Oh, maybe that's because there's so few of them. They've relied on yeah. Okay. So technocracy. Okay. So when the world went dark and everything went to shit, how did these people survive? They had automation already set up. That's what happened. It's not that they were especially good farmers or anything. Maybe they forgot how to do all that stuff, but they had the knowledge to maintain the robots and the automation and the power systems to actually have the robots do the job. And so while the people died off, and eventually the world, like their colony came to like, balance or whatever, they found a way to, and that means that, so as part of this, that means that maybe the players, as they explore, and they're looking like, oh, like, what is the hint that the lost colony exists? It could be like damaged drones that don't belong to Apex, right? For example, old farming robots, like really old, or with like tech or like symbols or things that don't make sense, like that are languages that they don't speak, stuff like that. That would be really interesting. Conveniently, this is also the language that Lucy speaks, Cherokee, which is going to play into maybe like they originally were colonists from the planet that she's from. So very interesting. That is going to be super fun. Okay. Not what I expected. I still like it. Okay. Let's get rid of the technocracy. That's kind of cool. Okay. And we have 20 minutes to the next ad break. Let's do this. Let's go and speak church. Are you remake the Book of Mormon? No, I've never actually read the Book of Mormon. Hola, Fodor. Hey, salud. How we doing? What's going on? Good looking. What were you most recently playing? I was there for a bit of it. Always be looking. Because I want Red Pill and Manosphere. Oh god. What's Red Pill? Is that the? I can't keep track of this stuff. Yeah, they argue that Native Americans are the lost tribe of Israel. Huh. Okay. I don't. I've known a handful of Mormons. They are an interesting group of people. It's just weird. I mean, like anything with a religious belief, I find strange. But yeah. Frankly, it's like Bible fan fiction. Yeah, that's fair. On stream, Dig Die, interesting repo. Oh, not my cup of tea though. I only do horror with friends. Fair enough. Hey, speaking of the co-op stuff, we did Josie and I did sheep herds yesterday because she was off work. That was super fun. You play as like little dogs. It's really colorful and you have to herd colorful sheep. It was super fun. That's why Brandon Sanderson has wrote like 3,000-page books. You know what? Yeah. Well, that man also craps out like 4 books a year. Also, I mean, Josie's read a couple of his books and she's starting one of his series. I've you see, it's weird. So he's Mormon and I think you can see the influence in his writing. Same thing for the lady who wrote Twilight is like very Mormon. And you see a lot of that in her writing as well. It's interesting how that kind of like seeps. I mean, it makes sense. Like those are personal beliefs, how it seeps in. Yeah. Excuse me. What was that game where you record animal sounds? Oh, yeah, that was like $2. It's My Voice Zoo. My Voice Zoo. It was super fun. Great for clips. I haven't turned anybody into clips. Oh, that's not true. We may have some sound effects in chat. But that's up for the Royal Zoo is active. That's up for you folks to find. Seeps, infects, whatever. Yeah. I went for a pee. What are we doing today? Oh, okay. So we're doing 2 things. So in about 20 or 30 minutes, we're going to start Kingdom Come Deliverance. But I need to do the GM turn. So the short version, Spooks, is so Stars Outnumber, the book, this here. This is the game this is Eden, Project Eden. This is the game we've been playing with Vic. And so 1 month has passed in-game, right? They've had 3 sessions, and it's been a month of real-time in-game. So what that means is all the factions, all the companies that they work for get a turn. And so the factions compete against one another for dominance. So the first thing we did is determine a cultural identity for the factions. Are they Italian? Are they Spanish? Are they Russian? Are they, Pakistani in style? Like, how do they approach business? How do they approach like dress? How do they approach culture? And then we give them a military or a government style. Like, how do they run their company? Some of them are like military dictatorships. Some of them are republics. Some of them are theocracies, whatever. And that gives me an idea of how the company behaves. And then it tells you the kinds of thing the company wants. And so once we finish doing that little bit right there, the companies are just going to take one turn and they're going to take actions basically against each other. Yeah, fun. You continuing this Saturday? Yes. Yep. Sunday. Did my camera just go wonky? Here, let's fix that real quick. My camera let's just turn this off real quick and deactivate the camera real quick. We're going to fix it. One sec. Kablamo. There we go. Yep, Nell will be there. We're only doing 1 because we had some scheduling issues at the beginning, but that's fine. I think we'll do 1 next month because next month we're going on our honeymoon for sure. I'm not all about this. It's true you are. And then so what this does is this does a couple things. So the factions play against each other. And so when I mentioned that 2 factions went missing, that's by design. But it was random. I didn't know which factions were going to go missing. And so now what this does, it allows the world to feel dynamic. I don't know. I didn't just plan the stuff out. It doesn't feel generic. Like the government style for Frontier surprised me. They're hydraulic despotisms, right? So it's like they want to control the resources, which makes sense now. And so I'm kind of like working that into the story. And then what happens is that's going to help shape their goals, right? I know that Frontier wants to control like the gene banks. So, they're going to do whatever it takes to make sure that they own like the stuff that's going to lead to food and water, right? That's their business. And so if somebody else gets that, or somebody starts sharing that with other companies, they're not going to like that, and they're going to react negatively to that. They're not egalitarian in that way, right? Oh, thank you. We definitely need more people. Yeah. So if anybody wants to join, if anybody's interested in joining, you know, the link, the Discord here. I'll just. This is now the permanent Discord link. It should work. That should be a permanent Discord link. And you can join. And at the beginning of, or the end of this month, I'll put out a new schedule, and we'll have another episode coming up. Episode 4 will be coming up in March. And then hopefully go 2 or 3 episodes in a month. Anyway, so we do one of these turns every month in game. Okay, so but it also helps me determine the jobs that they're going to offer the players. If the companies get destroyed, like if they get absorbed, if they get bought out, if what they sell, what they offer the players, if one company does really well, maybe they can charge more money for some stuff. Like, hey, nobody else is providing this, so we'll charge a lot of money for it. Maybe food gets more expensive. Or maybe it gets cheaper depending on the rules. Hey, rations are easier to come by, or guns are harder to come by because we don't really like people that have guns or whatever. That kind of thing. And we'll see how that what the players have done are going to affect how successful the factions are. And you're going to see that in just a moment as we get to that. So let's do really quickly. Let's see. We have just a couple left, so let's find this here. And how am I tracking the factions? I'm tracking them with this. This right here is our faction tracker right here. So it shows me like who we know, who are the agents of the factions. So we have like Douglas de Medici, who's 30 years old. He has a booming voice. He's located in Conclave, and he's built. And like, what's his quirk? He's built like a brick shithouse. We have Vinnie Boombats, which is a character that Josie made up. She's like, oh yeah, I've got a friend, and she rolled the die, and I'm like, what's his name? And she's like, oh, it's Vinnie Boombats, and I'm like, all right, cool, Vinnie Boombats. We've met Ako Suzuki. We've met Dr. Tan from like the Exchange. So, this person has like ankle long hair. This person's really frail looking. And that just helps me like paint a picture for these people. Okay, so we're down to the Keepers. The Keepers speak Swahili. This is a faction that the players have not met yet either. So let's see. It says Keeper Cult. That's not really, cult is a loose term here. It's not like an actual cult like as we've come to know in America. Okay, so they need a government type. What is the Keeper government type? They're going to be, oh, interesting, feudalist. Cool. Okay. One of the things I've been considering is there's a couple websites where you can host games, and I would love to host a version of this game with like 3 groups of people, so it's like 3 consistent groups of 3 consistent teams. And then they don't know, they don't get to see what happens around the world. But this is kind of a test into that. So we'll see. I would like to, if I get paid to be a DM, that'd be kind of cool. Anyway. Okay. So feudalism, just as a quick, this shouldn't surprise anybody. The world's government is spread among multiple power bases, each one nominally part of the same whole, but with few restrictions on their actions within their own domains. Their authority does not rest purely with blood or military power as in a tribal arrangement, but instead on the mutual recognition of their peers and their subjects. A particular lord might be preeminent among the others, but his power is never sufficient to subdue the rest of the feudal structure. In those cases, when he's able to do so, the government soon alters into a monarchy or military dictatorship. It tends to evolve on worlds where communication or powers of distant compulsions break down. Men and women seek the safe. That actually makes a lot of sense in this case. Okay. So there are a few power structures here. I know what this is going to mean. I don't want to reveal too much about the Keepers. What are the Keepers? Who are the Keepers? But interesting. So they're feudalistic, and they speak Swahili. They do have one supreme. I won't elaborate on that any further because nobody knows who they are. Okay, next up we have the Kensi. What are the Kensi? We've gotten a hint of what they are, who they are, more likely what they are. But I'm not going to reveal that here because they do exist on the map as well. Let's see, government types, role. And the Kensi are going to be... All right, this is kind of what I thought they were going to be. And that requires no additional explanation. They are tribalist, which in this case is technologically limited, probably like overseen. Honestly, their language being Pashto is an interesting choice for that one. The oldest, most fundamental form of societal structure, tribalism, exists in many forms among the stars. At its core, tribalism is a matter of relying upon kindred and neighbors against the frightening ambiguities of outsiders. Many worlds that claim some lofty and complex form of government are actually nothing more than tribal confederations at the core, loose compacts of uneasy communications and clans that only really trust their own. Okay, that fits perfectly with what I had planned for these guys. So sometimes what you think they are is what they are. Let's roll one final time. This is for Pay Dirt. Does anybody want a spoiler on Pay Dirt? Let's see. Faction, government types, roll. We'll take 2 rolls just in case. Autocracy. This makes a lot of sense. So an autocracy is exactly what it sounds like. They are ruled by a single, so to speak, autocrat. I have an idea about how this is going to work. Where the tyrant, dictator, generalissimo, or warlord, the autocrat rules alone. Unlike a monarch, he has no special legitimacy of blood, and his heirs must trust in his ability to suppress rivals if any of them are to succeed the throne. An autocrat's security usually revolves around his ability to keep all potential rivals neatly balanced in mutual enmity. Long-standing autocracies are usually so because of the tacit consent of the governed. The citizens might all hate each other to the extent that they only feel safe with a strong man to hold them apart. Or they might believe it's simply right that the strongest and cleverest among them should rule alone. When one autocrat passes, the populace simply turns their allegiance to the next to seize power. An autocrat who loses this unspoken consent can expect to soon be on the sharp end of a bloody rebellion. So this is where it gets interesting. So here's our, let's see. Okay, so here's a spoiler about Pay Dirt. Pay Dirt is Xenovista. There's one of your big reveals. This might be something that people know or have figured out recently. This table, yeah. Pay Dirt is what happened to Xenovista. So we've seen a lot of hints about Pay Dirt. We've seen a lot of hints about Xenovista, and that's by design, and a little bit of luck, to be honest. But in the clip that we saw, or like the very first episode of the show, where we saw Xenovista was being like the Xenovista ship was being like breached, basically. It was like a handful of pirates who like snuck aboard, and was able to down the ship and basically make their own colony. That is Pay Dirt. So they exist, and I know where they are, but their town, their new colony, exists somewhere on the map. So they are a bunch of Russian pirate warlords. Is Pay Dirt, and that is exciting. So okay. Now, let's give them a turn. Everybody gets a turn. Let's do this. Okay, so first things first. Let's clear. Let's see. Let's see who gets to go first. Now, they get to go first in different order. So faction turn, here's all of our factions. And let's see. Let's clear the chat. And mostly it's just going to be, and that's a mix of work. The mix that works well. Dude, right? Yeah, that's going to be fun. So, spoilers. You got to keep it separate from your brain, though, while you play. Okay, so we're just going to roll these in order and just see what the order we get to go is. Is there not a way for me to just roll from here? Can I just not? Whatever, it's fine. I probably should put it right there then, because I can't put this one in bar. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. We'll do a couple extra because there's going to be repeats. Okay, so we'll start with, so turn order is going to be Biopulse. Let's see, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so we got Biopulse first, Apex. We've got the Lost. Goes third. Frontier. Goes next. Neogen. We skipped the next frontier because we see that. The Kensi go after that. Now, most of these don't, like the Kensi, the Lost, the Keepers, they're not interacting with anybody just yet. They don't know the others exist, I think, with maybe an exception. We've got Silverlight. We ignore, Silverlight, we've got Paydirt. Let's see, Paydirt, Dynamico. Let's see. Paydirt, Dynamico. We said Apex we already have, Kensi we already have, Bauhaus we already have. Okay, so we'll do this again. Clear the chat. And do this again. There we go. Okay, so let's see. Paydirt, Silverlight, The Lost, Dynamico, Silverlight, Apex, Kensi, Dynamico, Keepers. Neogen, I think we did. So what's left? Frontier, Paydirt, Silverlight, Biopulse, Geo, Dynamico, Apex, Keepers, Lost. Wait. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, it's 11. So we're missing one. Frontier, Paydirt, Silverlight, Biopulse, Geosphere. Oh, Geosphere is last. Okay, that's the last one. Okay. All right, 5 minutes ads. Let's do this. Okay, so that just tells me the turn that we're taking. Now, we're going to pull this one here. We're actually going to swap these back now. So let's see. And we might end up making some characters to go along with this really briefly, but we'll get into Kingdom Come Deliverance very, very shortly. Okay, we're going to move this over to the other side so I can see this easier. Okay, so start from the top. Biopulse. Biopulse. Let's see. As an oligarchy of French merchant houses. Okay, so let's see. Their current industry. The players. So here the players are given 4 samples. Let's see. But they haven't actually acquired anything. Healthcare, farmer, cyberware. So these guys really haven't moved in any particular direction. So they're going to need to establish their industry first. So this means that they actually start producing useful things. But they have acquired 4 samples. So what does this mean for them? I'm going to define this outside of the stream, but these samples, every 5 samples is basically going to mean something here. And it's going to have to do like research and stuff, but that's something that I'm keeping closer to my chest. Okay, so Biopulse, their move is just going to be to build. So they need to establish themselves. Now that they've landed, it's been a month. They've had a month to basically, build out. But they haven't locked down a location. So in that case, let's just say that they start healthcare, huh? I think they're going to establish medical facilities. And this is going to give them +1 power per turn. Power is wealth in this case. Hot ham and motherfucking cheese. Oh, is that what you put on your... Oh, are you doing like a loaded potato, sir? Is that what you're talking about? Fuck, that sounds really good, actually. So power is wealth. Money is power in this world. So I say power, it could be money, it could be wealth, it's whatever. Point being, like, so now they're going to be generating power, and that's the first thing most of these factions are going to do. No, I don't like ham. Oh. What are we talking about? Also, how you doing, gorgeous? Good to see you. Did you get any rest since the last time I talked to you this morning? He only slept for like 3 hours and he woke up at like 3 a.m. It was terrible. So this is going to get 1 power per turn. And so now it's built. And so now next turn, they'll start benefiting from the power shift. So there we go. Located. So now we have basically doctor's office. How are they making money off it? Because, it's not free, right? the doctors and the healthcare system and the pharmacies, they're going to make you pay. So now the players can go and like get some kind of like medical reviews and things. We'll deal with that. Went to sleep 3 hours ago. Just woke up. Oh, good. Okay, so you need to get some more sleep. You feel better then? All right. So that's Biopulse. Next up is Apex. Apex is our let's see, drone systems. So assets. They actually do have an asset. They have a comms tower. So they claimed a comms tower for Apex. What does this do? It provides, let's see, security, surveillance in area. So they have security and that's going to be located at. I don't have hex numbers for this, but it's just it's located. We'll say in the wilds. Because it is technically out in the wilds. Okay. But then also they need to make a move. So the reason this is a freebie is because the players did this for them. So that's not a move that they need to make. Okay. So Apex now has drones established. They also need an industry that's going to give them money. So we're going to set that up. And they're setting up the comm system. So we know that the comm system was kind of established by and is sort of overseen by the exchange. But these are the guys that kind of like put everything in place. So, maybe they have like telecoms, maybe they have like internet, that kind of things that they're now establishing and connecting. They're creating like a World Wide Web basically on this planet. So that's going to be here. So we're going to say comms, internet is what they've established. And this is going to provide them with +1 power per turn. Okay. The Lost. This is where we get things really interesting. Lost Colony. Industry, right here. We're going to say... Ooh. I think the ones that have been here for a minute, I think they need 2 things to show that they've been here for 2 things. So that's what I'm going to do for these ones that are these pre-existing locations. So it is a technocracy that speaks Cherokee. We're going to go with the industry is going to be farm bots, right? That's going to establish +1 power per turn. Like so. I'm going to copy this because I'll just have to paste that later. But also, I want to give them something interesting. I think Nesquik chocolate milk made specifically with the syrup is superior. Oh, actually, so it's really funny. We did an episode about chocolate milk over on Care Compares. If you're ever curious, we haven't done the syrups. We did the powders. But there's somewhere. Excuse me. There is a Care Compares video about it. It's like I grew up consuming the Nesquik, not the syrup. I grew up with the powder Nesquik. There's some really good ones out there though. I've gotten to the point now where when I decide to make hot chocolate, I'll take a Ghirardelli like dark chocolate or like just a regular dark baking chocolate type thing, put in some like steamed milk with like a little bit of vanilla, a couple like a quick pinch of salt because it actually does add a little bit of complexity to it. And then if I want to make it like Mexican, I would do like cayenne and red and like pepper. Or if I want to make it like more Christmassy and traditional, it would be like nutmeg and clove. Yeah. Well, powder, but now like syrup. Yeah, the syrup has like a sweeter thing to it, right? It doesn't last as long, but yeah. Powder was an okay movie. I never saw that one. Okay. So the Lost has the industry of farm bots. I also want to give them... so industry, assuming that like it builds, I'm going to give them... something else too. Not an industry. I'm gonna call it military, and I'm gonna say, yeah. You know what I'm gonna do? I know where they're located, so I'm gonna say they're gonna have surveillance drones. So they monitor the areas, right? Surveillance drones. And so this is a, let's see. So we're going to call this one, where was it? Biopulse had it. No, not Biopulse. It's going to be security and surveillance in area. So basically what this means is within 6 miles, any direction, and there's a reason I chose 6 miles, it's just the distance of a hex. Within 6 miles outside of the Lost Colony location, they will have drones flying about, doing surveillance, checking the food and stuff. So that'll be cool. So the players could more easily come across them. We're going to snooze these ads while I do this. All right, next up is Frontier Society. Frontier Society is an Italian hydraulic despotism. Their current industry is going to be food banks, we'll say. They grow food. This is pretty straightforward. This is going to be a... oh, you know what? It's not just food banks. You know what? Maybe they set up the food banks first because they do need to set up food. Yeah, it is going to be this. +1 power per turn. But they're also going to have a job for the players. And that job is going to be to secure the Firebird nesting ground. Because the Firebird nesting ground, now that they have the location data for it, is going to be a source of food. But the players are going to have to do that. Okay, so this is going to be located in Conclave. So they make money off of the food that they have there. And then the Firebird nesting ground will provide something. Maybe it'll be additional power. We'll have to see. Okay, so that's Frontier. Neogen. Neogen's going to be a fun one because I think the players have actually done a lot for Neogen last couple games. Is it Neogen or Geosphere? Oh, no, it was actually Geosphere. They did a lot for it. Okay. So Neogen Enterprise is civil engineering, power, and sanitation. They are a corporate union conglomerate of Japanese corporate unions. All right, so the industry is going to be power systems. So basically everything, they keep the lights running. And so they're billing everybody for it. So that's going to be +1 power per turn. Actually, I guess I wasn't copied. Okay, +1 power per turn. Okay. Located in Conclave, nice and easy. All right, so that takes care of Neogen. So the first turn is them basically establishing themselves. Once we get to GM turn number 2 is when we're going to see them actually start interacting with one another. Okay, so the Kensi are an alien race. They're going to get 2 things as well. So their industry, we're going to say, is... let's see... Let's see. Their government type is tribal, huh? They don't really make a lot of money. They don't really have power. So maybe that's the thing, is maybe they're actually not increasing in power. Maybe industry is not what they have. Let's get some ideas. We could pull some ideas from the book, but I guess I could just give them... they all need some kind of way to gain power. So let's do... let's just say they have farmlands. Or, you know what? I'm going to call them hunting grounds instead. Because they're more hunter-gatherer. And we'll say this gives them +1. It doesn't give them power, though. It doesn't give them any power over it, over anybody else. What does it do? I might have to determine what this does. And this is going to be at a place called... they have a name for it. It is called Home. Is the location. It's a different town called Home. Okay. I'm going to have to work out what the hunting grounds do, but I think this is what we're going to go with. Okay. Next up, Silverlight. Everyone's favorite. That's not everyone's favorite. I don't know if that's true. I just said that. Okay. Hunting grounds. Yeah. Hey, salud. Sitas, how's it going? I ate 2 omelets before I fell asleep, and I regret it. Oh, why? 2 omelets? Did you make 2 omelets? How's it going, since it says we're just wrapping up some GM turn stuff, and then we're going to jump right into Kingdom Come Deliverance. So if you're waiting for Kingdom Come, it will be coming. So I'll be delivering it or something. Okay. Silverlight. Like the email I shared? Oh, I didn't even look at it yet. What email? I mean, I guess I'll look at it. I can look at it at the break. Okay, Silverlight's an interesting one. They have basically nothing. They've been giving nothing. Where is it? Here we go. Okay, Silverlight's defense, security, military. What are they doing? If I were a military monarchy contractor, defense security, what would I do for Kingdom? Oh, that would, yeah. I'm gonna wait till I think I finish the game and I can use that. All right, I'm gonna snooze these ads again. Okay, the devil made 2 omelets. What? They need a way to make. You know what? I think that what they do is just like they have. I'm gonna say Conclave, located in Conclave. Silverlight Cooperative has. Oh, Lucy, thank you for the giant. The giant emote. I gotta remake one. All right, so the industry is going to be surveillance. Let's say surveillance. What is it? Maybe defense, security, military. Maybe what were they building? Security cams? Surveillance. Oh, you know what? They just have police. They have a police force. We'll call them peacekeepers is a better way. Peacekeepers. So if there's ever a dispute or something like that, these guys kind of step in. But especially between factions. We'll give them +1 power because they take a tribute from everybody. +1 power per turn. There you go. Are those spreadsheets? These are in fact spreadsheets. Chef, how you doing? We're doing the GM turn for Project Eden before we jump into Kingdom Come Deliverance. I'm out, homie. Love you too. How you been, beautiful? Okay, next up we have Pay Dirt. So if you're just joining now, you have no idea what I'm talking about. You have to go back to see what the heck we're talking about. All right, so Pay Dirt is next. Pay Dirt is Xeno Vista. They're an autocratic Russian warlord faction. And so their industry, they have to set up stuff. You know what? I don't think they have something that's going to give them power necessarily. Because they need to interact with other people. They need to find other locations. Been good date Friday night and Saturday evening. Went good. Yeah. Oh, you did 2 days. What'd you do? I wonder where this puts me. I'm feeling good. Is that? I don't know if you guys celebrate Valentine's Day because that would have been Valentine's Day for you, but I don't know if that's the thing that matters. What'd you guys end up doing? Also, have you heard from your job the application that you did? Okay, industry is going to be. They do need a way to make make money though. What are they going to do? What would a bunch of Russian autocratic warlords, pirates, do to make money? You know what it is? It's sharecropping. That's what it is. +1 power per turn. So sharecropping is this idea of like powerful landowners own big chunks of it. So like smaller warlords, lesser warlords own the land, and they've got people like, I wouldn't say enslaved necessarily, but disenfranchised working them. Steal. Yeah, they would steal, but they're not at a point where they can interact with other factions yet, but they will get there. Get your flowers, weird thing for me. Friday night we went out to eat. Saturday was Valentine's, so we went for some coffee before her trip to visit her friend in another city. Ooh, that's fun. Did she stay the night? You don't have to tell. I don't know if Chef kisses and tells. Okay, so they make money off of sharecropping initially, or at least they gain power through sharecropping. So at least they've got their food taken care of because they do have to be. That's the tricky thing with Pay Dirt is they have to be quite good initially. Oh, I do want to give the Kenzie one other thing, and there's something else actually. We're gonna call this industry. And we're going to call it tunnels. And there's a reason for that. And I'm going to keep this, and the location is going to be in home. So they have a tunnel network. Don't know the hopes you have, bro. I'm a romantic. Oh, you sweetie. I love that, though. Look at you being all romantical and shit. Okay, so that takes care of pay dirt, and also takes care of the Kensi. Since they've been established here for a little bit longer, the next thing to do is Dynamico, which is going to be up here somewhere. Dynamico is a Korean military dictatorship that focuses on chemical engineering and metallurgy. They have nothing. They have not been giving anything. Their industry is going to be, we're going to say, they have a chemical plant. So this will give them +1 power per turn. So, oh, that's not what I meant to do. There we go. All right, so there we go. +1 power per turn. There you go. Yeah, it turned out we have a common friend at the gym, which is one of our trainers. Nice. Speaking of gym loves, Spooks apparently asked out her gym crush, and he said yes. And so now they exchange numbers, and they're gonna go make babies eventually. I don't know if that's true. I don't know if Spooks wants babies. Do you want babies? Oh, she's not here. But Chef, what about you? Do you want babies? Do you want little chefs running around? Tiny little chefs doing little chef things? Okay, so we have a chemical plant. I was thinking about making a forge, but a chemical plant is all the same. It's just a matter of, it's just terminology. All right, the keepers are next. So the keeper cult. These guys are gonna have two things as well. Their thing is, we're gonna say their industry is actually power systems. And there's a reason for that. This will also give them +1 power per turn. And I'm going to do something interesting. So I think they have a value here. Basically, the first, as they establish themselves, there's not much, they're not really spending their power. But I'm going to have them start spending their power as well, especially when you get to Geosphere, I think. Okay, so that's their power systems. The Keeper Cult also has something else. We're going to call them military. I'm going to say they now have... I'm gonna say gun drones, or we'll say defense drones. There's a reason for that, and it provides basically the same thing that the other ones provided, which is security and surveillance in an area. So security and surveillance in area. So that'll be within an area, again, 6 miles out in any direction. Jim Crush asking out goes good. Congrats, right? I do not want kids. I do want kids, but not in the short term. No, you can't really have them for a little while. You have to, if you're going to have kids, you have to have them for a long time. Most people only have kids for a little while. It didn't go well for them. Okay. Final one, and this is the interesting one because this is the one that the players have actually been messing with, is Geosphere. So Geosphere Union is up here. So now they need to establish an industry, their assets. So they have jobs, and the players did actually establish some stuff for this company. They did a lot for this company. They turned over a bunch. They actually set up, where was it? Exchange Beacon, Mysterious Statue. What did they do? Was it the mud pots? Yeah, it was the mud pots they actually established. So we're going to give them an extra asset. You're telling me I can't create them and sell them for profits like every artist does? Dude. If only you could trade your kids, that'd be great. Okay, so Industry 1 is going to be, let's see, if these guys focus on terraform, geology, meteorology, they're going to be setting up, we'll say their research division. Research division. And this will give them +1 power per turn. And now we have the mud pots. So we're going to delete this one. We're going to bring this one up, actually. I got traded. What the fuck? Wait, what? He said he got geostigma? Let's stop them when they were like 17. You throw them out. Wait, what is? Yeah. To make We got that Geostigma always. I love that. What a such an odd specific reference. I love that. All right, so it's no longer data. It is now an industry. They have an industry. What does this mean? We're going to find out. This will also give them 1 power per turn. So these guys are going to start generating a lot more power. And so they've set up their own, and the players set up one for them. And this is going to be located, I'm going to call it the wilds, because it's just kind of out in the wilds. They've also collected some samples. But this is going to basically start allowing them to like get a lot more power going. All right, I can't snooze this next ad. That is basically it for the GM turn. There's no attacks happening just yet. Next turn, next GM turn, we'll see these players start actually like attacking and really doing more to each other. I'm gonna use this data to come back with like news about what's been built, but it's gonna be like construction went pretty hard, pretty fast. I could also see in the case of either not Geosphere, in the case of Neogen Enterprises or even Dynamico, they could be contracted out. Someone could be like, hey, rather than you build up your own stuff, we will give you 1 power if you help us build an extra thing, right? So for example, Geosphere could say, hey, we want to build a stone quarry, but they need help. So they reach out to, say, Neogen Enterprises, who instead of doing their own thing, builds something for them in exchange for maybe double the cost or a cost associated with it. Okay,